Do you have limited time to work out? Today I'm going to share with you a technique called density training, and all you need is a stopwatch. So what's the biggest excuse you hear from people when they say why they don't work out? It usually is that, I don't have the time to do so. So today I'm going to offer a solution for those people who have limited time. And let's face it, we all have a limited time to work out. And very few of us can actually put in like hours and hours into the gym because we have our everyday lives to live. With density training, essentially what you're doing is that you're setting a time limit on your entire workout, or you're setting a time limit on each exercise that you do. And then what you do is, instead of increasing your workout time, you keep your workout time the same, but you try to improve your work capacity within that time period. Now for the past 2 to 3 years, I've been training almost exclusively for powerlifting, and most of my training volume and most of the time that I spend goes into my squat, bench and the deadlift. And often what I find is that I have no time remaining if I want to do my accessory movements, such as training my upper back, my abs, my biceps, the things which are still important to train. So what I do is, using density training, I can use whatever limited time I have and I can get a great workout in. Another benefit of density training is that it reduces your overall intensity. So if you're a powerlifter or an athlete of any other kind, you don't want to have a really high intensity session when it comes to your accessories, simply because it's going to eat away at your recovery. The main exercises that you do are hard enough on your recovery, and then if you start adding in these heavy accessories, it's gonna eat away at your recovery capacity basically. But with density training, since your rest intervals are going to be short, your intensity is going to be lower by default. So here's how you can do density training. You can get a great workout in only about 40 to 45 minutes a day. And here's how you do it. The first thing you want to do is identify about 3 to 4 exercises for that day that you want to focus on. Once you have these exercises, set a time limit on each of these exercises. So I personally like to give about 10 minutes per exercise, and I can do 4 exercises within 45 minutes. So on the days that I train my accessories, I give 10 minutes to training one upper body exercise, usually something like pull-ups, 10 minutes to train my abs, and I usually like to do something like planks or an ab wheel, and then I move on to a bicep exercise. My favorite has been the seated bicep curl on an incline bench. If you want to learn more about that exercise, I recently made a video on it and you can check it out in the description below. And finally, I like to end with something which is a rear delt exercise, because if you're doing a lot of presses like overhead press or bench presses, it's important to balance out your shoulder joint by training your rear delts as well. And a lot of these techniques I actually learned from my very first coach, who's Izzy from powerliftingtowin.com. So if you're interested in great powerlifting content, make sure to check out his YouTube channel and his website as well. And I'll link it down in the description below. And if you wanted to do more exercises in one day, you can simply cut down the amount of time you give each exercise. So instead of doing 10 minutes for each exercise, you can do 7 minutes and try to fit in 5 exercises for that day. So now that we've selected the exercises we want to do for that day, you can simply pull out your smartphone with the stopwatch app, and as soon as you start with an exercise, simply hit the start button on your stopwatch. And I would say start off really light, and you definitely don't want to go to failure in these exercises. So a great starting point would be pick a weight with which you can easily do 8 to 12 reps. And these are not to failure. So let's say you did 12 reps with a given weight. You could have easily done 2 or 3 more reps if you wanted to. So it will be considered as an RP 7 or 8 maximum. Once you perform between 8 and 12 reps, rest for about 30 to 45 seconds and no more than that. As soon as those seconds are over, you go back and do more reps with the same weight. what you will find is that you will no longer be able to do as many reps as you did in your first set. So for example, if you did 12 reps on your first set, you'll probably be able to do somewhere around 8 reps for the next one. Then after you're done with those 8 reps, you rest again for 30 to 45 seconds and you go back. And what you will find is your number of reps will reduce even further. You might be able to do only 6 reps. But the idea is you want to do as many reps as you can with a given weight within the same time limit. And with each set, the number of reps you can do will simply start going lower and lower because your fatigue will start kicking. But that's okay. You'll still be able to get a great workout, and by the time you reach your final set, you might only be able to do 2 reps or 3 reps with the same weight that you started with. Once your timer is off for that exercise, you reset your stopwatch and you move on to the next exercise. And then when you're done with that exercise, you can move on to the next one. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that unlike your regular strength training, you won't be able to progress as quickly. You won't be able to add more weight over time, but you will have to see how it's feeling and how your strength levels are feeling. I would say as long as you're pushing yourself sufficiently hard enough, you don't really need to focus on progressive overload when it comes to density training. Because if you're pushing yourself and trying to do as many reps as you can within a given time limit, you're automatically aiming for that progressive overload. And progressive overload does not only come from doing more weight or doing more reps, but it also comes from training density. If you're able to, even if you're able to do the same number of reps in a shorter amount of time, in a way you're increasing your fitness levels. And one thing to keep in mind is that if your goal is to build maximum strength, then this is probably not the way to do it, because for the most effective strength training, you'll find that you will have to rest a lot longer between sets. But this is for those exercises where you are not aiming for maximum strength, but you still want to get a good workout in. So there you have it. It's as simple as that. It's not nothing really complicated. Just give yourself a time limit for each exercise and just keep doing as many reps as you can with a given weight, and make sure you start off really light. Don't go to failure. If you know someone who's always making excuses about not working out because of time, please feel free to share this video and the concept of density training with them, where they can set a time limit on their workout. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button and make sure to subscribe to my channel for more great content like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.